Hello again. Today we are going to take a look at the Simgot EM6L. This is one I'm trying to get out quick. I've only had, I don't know, 5 or 6 days with it, but I'd like to get as many views as possible, like to get it out quick, and I already see there's quite a bit of videos and reviews that have already been made for this. So I wanted to get my take on it. What you get for $109 plus tax is this little box. Decent enough little logo. Simgot EM6L. Nothing on this side really. You do have the graph that you guys probably can't see because of the lighting in here is terrible, but yeah, and I guess it's a relatively accurate graph. As you can see, that's kind of the layout. Yeah, 2 BAs for the highs, 2 BAs for, I guess, mid highs, and then an 8mm dynamic for the lows and I guess low mids, at least from the sounds of it, from some of the reading. Normal stuff, nothing else special. This is one of the boxes that slides out the side. Another nice little logo there. You open it up, your IMs would be there. Underneath here, you'd have a little pack of tips, which, oh, I do know where that. You have a little pack of tips in there. They're very similar to the tips you get with the EA500, except it's a thinner silicone. It's I don't know. I kind of prefer the EA500 tips. They fit more securely in my ear, but they're fine. I actually like the way they sound and work with the EM6L. So there's that. In this box, you will have another one of these cases, just like with the EA500, and you'll have your cable. There is a manual inside that box as well. Most of it's other languages, and it does mention something about a warranty and where to put your warranty card number. However, this did not come with a warranty card, so I don't know if it's just some number that's on the side of the box, a serial number or what, but it does specifically say you must provide this warranty card number, and again, I don't see any warranty card at all in that box. Here's the tips. As you can see, I do have 2 of them on the IEM, very much like the EA500 tips. Again, just thinner silicone. Here is the cable you get, and I don't know if that comes through, but it's not silver, it's a golden black. But outside of that color, there's absolutely nothing at all special about this cable. It feels like every other cable you'd get with a pair of $30 to $50 IEMs. Like, it's the sticky silicone rubber. Like, I actually think the A500 cable is a little better. I don't know. This is actually kind of nice. This might be the only nice part, this little chin strap here, but I never use it anyway. But you got that, and then you come to the thing that I wasn't aware of when I first ordered these, and I'm really annoyed by. What is this? The QDC connection. I absolutely hate those, but for some reason it's what they went with, and I don't understand. It's weird. The OH300 had it, this had it. I don't know, it's neither of those two brands really use the QDC connector, and then all of a sudden now they're using QDC connector. Something weird's going on. I don't know. So there must be like one company that's making all these IEMs for all these other brands, or whatever you want to call them. Alright, so cable's out the way. And now, of course, they're covered in fingerprints, and I don't have a cloth near me. But hopefully you can see that. Of course, the black doesn't help. Neither does the fingerprints. Wow, that's terrible. But there you go. This did have a plastic on it when you first get it. And I made the mistake of, because before I even pulled it off, I was like, let me just make sure I like them. I put them on, and it just super boomy, just muddy, just, I don't know, it's kind of gross sounding, like just like the bass was absurd for what I was expecting. It just lacked detail, lacked a solid snappy impact. It was just soft and thumpy, and I was kind of surprised. And it was like an entire day I'm trying to listen, I'm like, man, I'm definitely returning this. So I didn't want to take the plastic off. And then I noticed, oh, I'm in the wrong part of the camera, but that right there, and if you shine a light through this cavity, you'll see light come out of there. And I don't know, it just made me think, okay, well, maybe that is a vent. I pulled off the plastic, and it was like a night and day difference. I don't know if it was something in my head, but the difference was so substantial that I highly doubt it was. So I do actually think that's a vent of some sort. Maybe I don't know. I hope it is, because if not, then I'm just completely crazy. But I did that, and now all of a sudden the bass there's still a lot of bass, but it's at a more acceptable level. It's now detailed, much tighter, snappier. So don't make your first if you happen to get this, do not make your first judgment up with the plastic still on the back. Give me 1 second. All right, let's see if I at least want to give one clean shot. Let's see if I can. I mean, it's okay. They're kind of understated. It's just the contents. You feel this, and it feels super light. It feels incredibly cheap. And then you see the QDC connector, and you get these CCA KZ vibes, and you're like, I spent, after taxes, it was like $115, $117, and it's like you feel like you just bought a $30 KZ IM. It just feels terribly cheap, especially when you compare it to the $70, $80 thing. Like, this feels so much better built. Just, this feels premium, and this feels super budget. Same with the Kailua. Feels premium, super budget. It's like, from the beginning, I'm just getting all these bad vibes of this thing, and just completely annoyed that I spent more money on this than both of these. I'm hearing that mess up sound because I had the plastic on or whatever. I get the cheap feeling, this annoying cable, the stupid QDC connector, and I'm just all of a sudden just getting that OH300 feeling again. Like, man, I expect so much more from Simgot, especially after this. And like, I've had so many good, like, what was it, that ER2 or E2 EM2R, whatever the hell it was. I think ER2. Like, I love that thing. The OH10, one of my favorites. The OH2. I actually recently made a video for it, but I just keep putting it off, postponing posting it because of other stuff I wanted to get done first. And but that one of my favorite, and then the OH300, it's kind of like they mailed it in, and I don't know, gimmick over tuning, stuff like that. And this initial impression started feeling more of the same. I just confused. But again, I take this off, and yeah, I get the cable, don't like it. I did run these balanced before anyone makes a comment saying, oh, you run balanced Any niggles you have somehow gets resolved. I ran these balanced. I've been running them balanced. Most of my listening has been balanced for a somewhat specific reason. These, the EM6L, like when you turn the volume down, the first thing that starts going is the bass quantity. And I noticed that with less power, like right in my phone, it has way less bass than it does like plugged into the Hibby FC4 or that Truth Ear Shio, stuff like that. Like it does require power, not substantial amount, but this is a relatively inefficient IEM. Certainly, it's way more inefficient than this. It's I don't know if it's way more inefficient than this, but it's definitely more inefficient than that. I just don't know if it's as large of a gap as this one. But anyway, you get past all the cheap stuff, the lack of anything fancy, the basically same stuff you got with the $80 IM, just much cheaper build. You get it past all that, you finally grow some brain cells and you remove this plastic and you realize, okay, maybe this isn't as a regretful purchase as initially thought. Everything opens up and it's impressive. It's this one, the way I have this currently, I have foam in the tip. I put my own foam in the red nozzle and it just has everything more smoothed out. Took away some of that aggressiveness, a little bit of that thinness, and it's more of a kind of all-arounder now, very smooth. And this seems like it's kind of taking that approach to the way I tune that. Like, this is aggressive. It's detailed, it's a lot of big sound in your face, especially when you listen at somewhat elevated volumes. This does that, but it also does that in a smooth way, so it's kind of a midway point. Like you get the smoothness, the relaxing nature of it, but you also get the fun and excitement at the same time. It's pretty darn impressive. I do wonder, I don't even know if I commented on this already. This is a 4BA, one dynamic driver configuration. I don't know, from the looks, if the renderings are correct, I wonder if the BAs are Sonin BAs and not like, I can't remember the brand, was it Belzen or something, whatever the KZ typical cheap BAs that the cheap IMs use. I think this might be Sonin ones. Don't quote me on that. Hopefully Hi-Fi at some point will tear these down and actually let us know exactly what's going on in there, because it's also not super clear on what the dynamic driver is. It is an 8mm dynamic driver in here, but it's like some composite polymer, so that could mean tons of different things. So not entirely sure on what tech it is, but it does seem like it's a quality 8mm driver. Like it does do a lot of bass, and initial impression made me first think of the CCA, what is it, CA16. This is what it, this is a, this has an 8mm dynamic and 7 BAs in it, 7 balanced armatures. And I was getting a lot of vibes of this in here, but after removing that plastic, spending more time with it, it really is a completely different beast than what that is. And I do still, to this day, I do still really enjoy this. This is a completely smooth, relaxing, yet detailed listen. It doesn't quite compete with the details as any of these three up here, but it's one of those listens like you can have a pounding headache and just want to sit back and you still want to listen to music, but sometimes EA500, especially this one, the Kahlua, like if you have a headache, I At least I can't. That's not. But this I can put in. Same with the Melee. Like this and the Melee I can put in and still enjoy music despite having a headache. This is kind of an in-between ground. Like there's still energy there, but it's just, I don't know, it seems more energetic than the graph shows. So I don't know what exactly that's about. I don't know if it's because of how it fits in my ear, but there's definitely a few areas that there's a lot of energy in, and it seems like it's, man, it's hard to really pinpoint, because some of it seems like it's coming from the bass region, and some of it seems like it's coming from, I want to say the 2-3K region. It just seems like it's teetering on getting close to the edge, and if you have a headache, it can kind of make it worse, but nowhere near to the levels of these. If you don't have a headache, it's just this wonderful, smooth, enjoyable experience, and it's kind of almost perfectly tuned in that sense, because you still get a lot of slap from the treble, a lot of impact from the bass, a lot of speed, detail, separation. And despite all that cheap crap it comes with, the cheap feel and build of this, like there's definitely good components inside. I wish I had a light, because if you do shine a light in here, it's very dark though, but you can kind of make out the tubes and the BAs and stuff in there. You can see everything going on. But as far as sound, I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm exhausted. It's been a very long day, so work with me here. This is, I don't want to say a detail monster, because it's not throwing stuff in your face, but like it belongs right in line with the Kahlua, the EA500. It's offering that level of detail in almost every area, but in addition to that, it's painting a much different, more 3D stage than either of these two are capable of doing. Even the legato, it's all that, it's, I don't know if it's because of the multiple different drivers, but it is like sounds are definitely coming from different spaces. You get a lot of verticality, a lot of left to right, a lot of precise movements between the left and right. Like it's super impressive, the imaging that these offer. The sound stage is not big. When you start running it balance, it does open up. But one thing I did notice that I found odd is when I run it balanced, a lot of sounds that would happen way up, and let's say just way up and to the right, like almost like it's above my head, it became less extreme. Everything kind of spread out a little more evenly. I lost a little bit of that verticality. It still had it more than the EA500, still had it more than this Kahlua, but it wasn't as just severe and exaggerated as it is when I'm running it through its stock cable. Now, as far as like what is better here, I don't know. I don't want to go super praising this thing, because I honestly think, even though I love the sound, I do think it's a more palatable sound than both of these, probably for the average audience. I just think it should be the same price as these. It needs to be somewhere between, and this should be $80. I know, I just don't understand how they can charge $115 for this and give you just so much There's so much crap, to be fair. Like, the Dioko, right? $99, great cable, great case, a crazy amount of good tips, great build quality, quality sound. Got a quality driver. The Legato, same thing. Great build quality, great cable, good tip selection, good sound. Yes, you can argue the sound is slightly better, but everything else is $30 budget stuff here, maybe $50 budget stuff here. So that kind of annoys me, but 'cause I don't know. I'm a cheapskate, and I don't want to. If I'm spending nearly $120 on something, don't make it necessary for me to spend another 40 on a cable right away, or I don't know. I would like to. I would like some decent stuff. Like, I don't. That's just a pet peeve, and it's kind of annoying me. But the sound of these are definitely worth the price. They work well with all genres of music, and I actually am able to pick up details with this that I don't pick up with either of these two, and these two are probably some, at least as far as my like $100 range type stuff, are probably the two of my maybe most detailed capable IMs outside of, like I said, the Dioko. The PR2 is impressively detailed too, but just that thing can give me a headache sometimes. Like, this is more detailed in almost every area except for the bass. When it comes to the bass, the Kailua's detail is superior. Sometimes it's just not as fun because it's a little more drier than the bass you get here. So you're going for, do you want a little more detailed, punchy bass, or do you want kind of like a more natural but still detailed bass? Just in a way, that's kind of the tone. This is excitement in your face. This is you're in a place trying to listen to music and enjoy it. I am gonna definitely have to do another video on this, just for the simple fact that I am not with it today, but I needed to get this out. This is quality IM. It's another good sounding IM from Simgot. It would fit well in a lot of people's collections. It's just starting to approach the price point where there's a lot of competition, and it's kind of apples and oranges. Like, okay, you can sacrifice maybe a little bit here and there, but get better stuff. I don't know. Actually, this was pretty bare bones too, but that build quality, that's just gorgeous. This, you save money, get very close to the performance of this, and I would suspect better longevity. I don't know. I really hate that stupid connector right there. That just ruins it for me. However, music does sound absolutely sublime on these. If I had one complaint, it might be vocals. Sometimes they do sound a little more recessed than they like. Now, some tips can help that a bit, but I haven't done too much tip rolling, because overall I have been kind of pleased. I like the sound stage and the presentation and everything it's given me, because I guess I should touch on that as well. Like, nicely separated, nicely detailed, nicely layered. But this thing really puts all the instruments in their own spot and keeps them isolated. Whereas these two will separate them make them easy to pick out, easy to focus on. You get all the detail, but this, it's almost like everything is blocked off in its own room, and you're hearing the sounds somehow just pumped from each room into your head, so nothing's melding together. It's quite impressive, and there's a lot of detail there, and you really don't get much of that BA timber that people talk about. I don't like this thing. Another reason why I like this is just warm. It actually sounds like it's all dynamic, except because it has all those BAs. You kind of get a little bit of that same effect where every sound is so separated from the other sounds that you don't have any melding, nothing mixes together, and you don't lose any information. It just happens here at a much higher quality, and it's incredibly impressive. And for the first time, I need to take notes before doing that, because I just noticed a sound for the first time that I've never heard before with these, and it was from a Korn song. I can't remember the song, but he was saying free, and every other IM, you almost hear like spittle when he says it, like he's tripping over the beginning, like when he's saying, like it's, you almost hear like spittle or something, like it's noticed. That's where start notice more with this than this, but you do get it a little bit. But on this, you actually, it sounds like he just straight up farts with his mouth. You can hear his lips smacking together in the beginning as he's tripping over it, trying to get the word out. And that's the type of stuff I'm noticing with this. Everything's just so nice and clean and well presented. It's a thoroughly enjoyable experience. It's every genre. Like, I really have been enjoying heavy metal and stuff with this, and I'm not really a heavy metal guy, but it just paints a beautiful environment, and it really, it's almost opposite to this for heavy metal though. Like this really, like you get the detail of the bass guitar, and you can hear the guys, you can just hear him slapping on it, and it sounds so lifelike and just euphoric. It sounds amazing. On this, you don't quite get that level of engagement with bass and the bass guitars, but you get that engagement with the guitars, with the vocalist, with the drummer. So it's, man, I swear, I think they purposely add little faults to stuff just so people have a reason to keep buying something else. Because if they took that 8mm driver out of this, put the 10mm from this in there, I don't think like, if I could have this bass in there with those mids and this treble, I'm done. No more IMs. Back to buying headphones. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. That would be it. Like, it really is that good from the mids up. I would love to see a little bit more boost, like in the vocals. They sound tonally correct, but they almost sound smaller than they should until you start cranking the volume up. And once you do that, like, the bass can get, I don't know, I imagine a lot of people won't find it too big. It'll probably be perfect for a lot of people, considering I think the quantity of the bass of the A500 is great. I think the quantity of the bass of the Kailua is a lot. I think the quantity of bass on the CA12 here is a lot. So it's like, I do feel there's a lot of bass there. It's just, I don't know. There is definitely some minor faults in here, but this is another great sounding IM from Simgot. It's it could give people all the things that people like me love about this. I can imagine people who wanted a more smoother sound will have the same love for this. It, as you can tell, this is a hard one for me because I never thought I was a treble head or none of that. I do like my stuff to have a kind of a vocal, not forwardness, but I like the vocals to be the star. But I want bass I can feel that's tight and punchy and rumbly. And I want like snappy highs and stuff. I don't want it piercing and stuff, but I want everything to have power to it. And the vocals is the one area where that seems to suffer, only because other areas can get to be too much, too powerful when you turn the volume up to where the vocals become where the vocals reach the levels that I want. Now, like, again, changing tips will help, and I will have to go and keep swapping and do more tip changes, but mind you, I'm also being very nitpicky. Like, I'm making it sound far worse than it is. Like, it's not bad. It's nowhere near as V-shaped as a lot of other stuff that has been out. Like, it's perfectly acceptable. It's $117 after tax, so it's $110 IEM, and we got really good $80 IEMs. So if you're going to justify spending nearly 20 more than that, well, shit, 50 more than that in some cases, 40 to 50 more than that, which is, oh, I can't, just saying that out loud hurts, because I don't know if it's that much better. Yeah, it's good. It's just, this was very, very, very good. Like, they could have got away with selling this at 100 and cool. I don't think anybody would have complained. This could have been the same price as this, and I think people might be like, okay, well, in some cases, some people would be picking the EA500 better, even though I do think this is technically better overall. This technically is more detailed and better in the bass. It just doesn't have the quantity or the body that this has. So anyway, let me stop waffling. This works great. I can't imagine any genre of music that this would disappoint in. I've tried. I don't listen to country at all, but I tried it on here. Sounded wonderful. It actually did. Stuff with female vocals sounded great. Pop type stuff. What's her name? Dialupa, stuff like that. I don't listen to that either, but man, that type of stuff, it sounded like that might have been some of the best sound I've heard out of these. Like, her voice, like, I had this. All right, confession. My oldest daughter is a fan of hers, and I had to take her to a concert, so I got to hear her live. And this really was kind of presenting that almost live environment feel, just this big powerful sound just coming at you. So I definitely appreciated that, and it sounded amazing. Sounded much better on this than all of those. Like, it really did a lot of justice to stuff like that. Hip hop sounds really good. Like, this really does. It has a good amount of bass. I just noticed the sub bass is where this starts to struggle. The graph doesn't seem to look like it does, but the Kahlua digs way deeper. Like, like, you can definitely tell there's a lot of roll off. The information is there, but there's a lot more roll off than something like this. But it's still perfectly acceptable. It's not any worse than some other recently released IEMs. Although, to be fair, many of those were $50, $60. Anyway, All right, let me at least show you this as well. You see that there's no lip there, and it's also extremely short. And comfort, yeah, I guess I should comment on the comfort. These are not the most comfortable IMs. I don't know if it's because of how short the nozzle is. I don't know if it's because there's nothing that actually clips and holds the tip on or what, but when I put it in my ear, it feels like it's trying to push itself out. I don't know why that is. I don't know, like I said, if it's because of that being short or not. It definitely does not have a deep insertion depth. It almost just sits on the outside. Whereas this, as you can tell, this goes way in. This kind of goes in a little more than that, but the angle is what screws up, so tips are a pain. This definitely goes in much more. Like, these are so wonderfully comfortable. I love these. But if you're, what you're after is not a holographic, but at least a three-dimensional sound stage. You want tons of detail, and you don't care so much about the bass being like above average, but you want vocals and treble and everything up there being above average. You'll be super happy with this. I'm not gonna go any deeper than that because, like I said, I'm gonna end up, I've said this multiple times too, but I am gonna end up doing another video on this because there's a few other things I want to try. And after seeing what that does, I'm curious now if I can actually get it in camera. But I'm curious what I can do with like a tape or something in there. I don't know. I didn't like I said, that made the bass huge, boomy, soften things up. But maybe if I put something that's porous in there, it won't have as much negative effects as the piece of plastic that was just laid on top, completely sealing it. Anyway, this was the video on the Simgot EM6L. It's definitely another good release from Simgot. They nailed the audio quality, just superb. It certainly fits the price, if not exceeds the price. It's the build quality and the accessories that let it down. So if all you care about is sound, know you're going to get your money's worth. If you want to pay $100 and something and you want a nice package where you open it and you feel like you spent your money well just from first impression, I don't know. Maybe look elsewhere. Maybe just save some money and get the EA500 and get yourself a, let's see, a Truth Ear Zero, a Truth Ear Zero Red, a 10 Hi-Fi C3. What else? There's been so many good $50 IMs recently. I don't know. $70 and another $50 pair of IMs or these. I don't know. You guys make your decision. All I can say is this is, as far as sound, great, superb, well worth the money. And there was one more thing I wanted to touch on, but I am forgetting right now, so I'm gonna move on. Post this video again. I'll do some experimenting, or at least do a reevaluation when I get more time, because I've had this like less than a week. Normally I would, and not only less than a week, but I spent less time listening to it than I would, like I try to, I don't know, 40-50 hours, and a lot of A, B, and I didn't get to do a lot of that with these. I haven't had a lot of time. It was also trying to do the OH2, and that was throwing me off because it's such a different sound where switching from that to this was giving me a false take on like the bass here being way too much and stuff like that. Even again, this is after I pulled that off. It was just causing some back and forth issues. It was too much of a dramatic change, so I had to kind of switch focus. Oh, this is why I wanted to show you guys. I am going to be doing this review, but mind you, guys showed you all that stuff you got with this $110 IM that has tax. That's going to be nearly $120 after tax. This is the OH2. Nice big massive box. Pull it out, right? This is now on sale for $40. It has been for $40 for a while. I bought this a long time ago for $40. So I am beautifully presented in there. These things are built just still one of my favorite best built IMs. Got a nice little pamphlet in there. Look at all this. A whole crap ton of tips. You got the foam silicone cover tips with a little cable box, a little carrying case, extra filters in there. $40. And like the cable's kind of, don't get me wrong, cable's kind of junky, but it sounds really good. It measures better than this thing. Like, I don't know, like something weird's going on with stuff lately. I'm telling you, there was one company making everybody's stuff, and they decided, okay, we're gonna start throwing QDC stuff on it. Anyway, we're now at 40 minutes. Appreciate you guys watching. Thumbs up, subscribe. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your audio.